Hello, and welcome to Havoc Wargaming, dedicated to bringing you the uncommon. For those of you who haven't met me, my name is Ron, and today we're going to do an after-action report of 95th by 2 Hour Wargames. So let's get started. So I've been doing a comparison collection of videos. I don't think I actually announced that that's what I'm doing, but I'm doing a number of different Napoleonic skirmish games, all using the exact same table and using very similar scenarios involving a spy with a number of different, as I say, true skirmish level games. And so today we're going to do 95th by 2 Hour Wargames. When I'm done with these, there's going to be 3 of them, and when I'm done I'll do a 4th video that'll compare the various role systems directly, I believe. But enough of that. Let's go to the gaming table. This is what's described as the battle board, and this is the new way that the games, if I'm understanding it right, are being played. This is definitely the primary system intended for 95th. Now, I should mention that this is the battle board that comes with the game. It's an 8 by 11. It actually states in the rules that a battle board should be 12 by 12. I should probably also mention that the basic game, the rules also come with a number of counters. So you could actually play this game as a board game, basically, using these counters on the battle board that comes with the game. That seems to be the direction that 2 Hour Wargames is going with their games. When you enter into an encounter, you put your figures, starting with the enemy's figures, onto the board within 3 inches of the table edge. Yours go on the other side based on how you want to line them up. The only movement that's really in the game then is charging into combat. You're just basically playing out the encounter. The next option is referred to as bonus tabletop. In this game, it's an optional role. In Flintlock, this was the primary way to play the game. In the battle board version I just showed you was the optional way. In this game, you have a little bit more detail. You have a table laid out in a more traditional sense of how games are normally played, with the exception that terrain is actually, you're supposed to know where buildings are, but you don't know what the buildings are until you enter into that square. And that's the important part of how this differs from the other one. The table is laid out in a series of equal size squares. So this would probably be, I haven't measured the table, but it's probably, let's say it's like 3 across. It's probably 3 across and either 3 wide or 4 wide. So they've entered into the square here. Instead of moving in the normal way where each figure gets so many inches of movement and you measure and you move, instead in this game you move by those squares. You can move from one square, anywhere in that square, to anywhere in the other square. If you're infantry, you move to the next adjoining square. If you're cavalry, you can move by 2 squares instead of by 1. So a move would be from, say, from this square, let's say this is the corner of the square. They can move all the way from here to just barely into the next square, or all the way into the cover around that end of it, and that would still just be a move. There's rules in the book for how you handle the PEFs. PFs, you don't know what they are until you get into resolution range, and resolution range won't happen until they're in your square with you, and then you would roll to see what they actually are. There's not only no measuring for movement, there's no measuring for ranges either, because you're always really in those little battle board. This is sort of like playing the game in 6 or 9 battle boards. Again, very, very abstract. I only mention these 2 systems because I think it's important to keep in mind that this game has gone from being more like a traditional war game with nuts to more and more like an abbreviated role-playing game. I say abbreviated because it's still typically only going to be 1 or 2 players, and there isn't a lot of detail or information for actually playing the characters that you'd expect in a role-playing game. But it is mostly narrative. It's mostly relying on the roles on the campaign chart to generate stories, and the battles, or encounters, are just how you're determining what happens at those encounters. Encounters is the way to think of them, and it's a completely different feel than a traditional war game. I mention that because I'm not going to be doing that. I feel like it's necessary to talk about this if I'm doing a how to play video, because if you bought these rules, you'll be disappointed and surprised to find out that I'm playing it in an entirely different way. All right, so here we're looking at the table we're going to be using for today's game. We kind of saw it in the background in my earlier discussion, I suppose. I am using, to solve the question I was just referring to about the movements and the different versions of that, is we're going to be doing sort of a mishmash of long rifle. Long rifle is the French and Indian War version of 2-hour war games. It still has the movement and measurement ranges that I prefer in a war game that 95th seems to have dropped. So we're going to be doing a mixture of these rules. The basic mechanics, besides for things like movement and how that all works, are pretty similar. So I think regardless of which version of the game you had been planning on playing, I think this will still mostly help you follow how the game works. I'm planning on running basically the same scenario, or roughly the same scenario idea, in all of these various games I'm running, using the different rules, but basically the same pseudo scenario. In the tabletop version of the game, the turn sequence is a little bit different than the normal turn sequence, and it's going to begin with rolling for activations. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll a d6 for each side. The red is for the British, the white is going to be for the French. We have a 4 and a 5. So what that means is the activations are going to go first to the French PEFs. They can only activate, however, anybody whose leader has a reputation of 4 or higher, or 5 or higher, because that's what they rolled. PEFs have a rep of 4. So technically that means they can't actually activate. Because they don't have anyone with a 5 or higher as a PEF, they cannot activate. I should probably mention real quickly the placements of the PEFs. Right now I'm using dragoons for them. That may not have been a great idea because there'll probably be dragoons, but there's one here. One is back behind that building and the other is behind that tree. Per the rules that I'm following from the other game, from long rifle, the PEFs have to begin out of line of sight, and in those rules, unlike the battle board rules, the tabletop rules that are in 95, once they are in line of sight, we resolve who the PEFs are. So they have to start out of line of sight. Because I can't actually activate any of the French PEFs, we will then go to activating our guys here. All of my guys, well, there's only one unit anyway, they're commanded by a 5, so they all can activate. The regular movement is 8 inches. They have no targets. We're just going to move forward. I'm just going to move everybody forward into the gate. We roll again. Same thing as before. All right. The French this time get a 3. They still beat the British, and now they can move everybody because the PEFs are normally 4s. You start with the one that's furthest away, and he's going to move all the way over to here. He is still out of line of sight of everybody. This one's going to come around from here. That's going to put him in line of sight. So we'll have to resolve that one. And this one's right here, and will have to be resolved. All right, so let's see what we're looking at first. We're going to start with the one by the olive mill. Technically, I should have rolled for their movement. It should have been 2d6. So let's move for the furthest one first. He would have gotten 2 successes, so he did the right thing. This one over here would have been next, 2 successes. So he actually would have had to move around this way because he has to stay in cover. No, I guess I'm going to call that cover. We'll put him there. It's not out of line of sight. And the last one there, 1 success. He doesn't move. So this one actually stayed back there. There's a chart for PEF movement. You roll successes. Successes means beating their rep of 4. The first one was the one way over there. Got a 2 and a 1. That's no success. He directly moves away, staying in cover. So that would have actually brought him backwards to there. The one that was behind the building here, let's just put him back. The one that's over here rolls no successes. He moves back to the trees here. And the one that's closest over there rolls 1 success. A 1 success doesn't move, so he stays there. So they moved first, but they didn't get to do anything. They're gonna come up here. Uh-oh. They've come up forward into the garden. They come around and they're right in front of that PEF. All right, so we do have to figure out what the PEF is. So, okay, so I rolled 1. That's 7, 5. I gotta put in light infantry, 5 of them. The red and the gray are going to be the British. They've got a 5. The French are the whites, and they have 6s. So those are all successes, right? So everybody's passed, so it's equal. So we have to roll for the advantage. I didn't actually have to roll that. I only had to roll the 1, so they have advantage. The enemy are going to have the first go. That's not good at a range like this. I think they're going to shoot. We're going to do the guy right here in the front. He's going to shoot. He's shooting at Richard Sharp there. His shoot, he's got 4s for his ability. He rolls 1 success. 1 success. All misses him in cover. Otherwise, rifle and volley gun hit. Muskets and... Okay, so it is a miss. If missed, they can return fire if they can. If they can't, they will ignore. Sharp does carry a rifle. So he's going to do return fire on that guy. Now his score is 5s. He's got 2 5s. Those are both hits. So he hits all targets. So we have to roll for his shooting damage. He rolls 2d6. So that's going to be a total of 7. The target is 9. So it is less. So he is just going to duck back. We turn him around, which represents that he is seeking cover. And now we're going to activate this one here. That's number 2. He's going to shoot at the sergeant there. He is 4s. That's 2 hits. So he's going to hit his target. We roll for the damage. That's 4. So he ducks back. That one's going to shoot again at Richard Sharp. He's got 5s. He gets 1 hit. We would be able to fire again if we had a gun that could do that, but we do not. So that is just a miss because it is a musket. The next one here is going to shoot straight across. That's Sims. He is... So those are 2 5s. That's 1 hit. In this case, we can fire back, so Sims will. He's going to do reaction fire back. Sims is only 4s. He gets 1 hit, but he has a rifle. So this is what's going to be different. 1 hit on a rifle and volley gun hits, counts as a hit. So we have to roll for the hit. 7. That guy's... is a 5. Oh, wow. That guy's rough. He's 11. So it's under, but he's going to be knocked back. And the skittish fellow, Can he actually get a shot off? I think he can. He's going to also shoot at Sims. That's one hit. So nothing. All right, so everybody is shot back and forth. Bang, bang, bang. A lot of action. So it is our turn to fire back for those who haven't already fired. Take action, actually. That's more to the point. So now we have to check for the will to fight for the Brits. So based on 5 for sharps, that's 2 successes. Okay, we carry on, no problem. And then them. 8. No, that's 2 successes, so same thing. All right, so now the British get their return fire, or return actions is what it is actually. I think what we're going to do is charge. Or at least charge with some of them. He's charging. He's charging. He's charging. He's charging. He's charging. So most of my group is charged into the fight. Well, yeah, almost everybody except for Harper, who is of course my best fighter. Or one of my better fighters. He's not so sure. The green ones will be for, I don't know who the guys are. Harris. And the black ones will be Plimpton. And the white ones will be their guy. All right, so let's see what we got here. Harris is 4s. Harris has 2 hits. Plimpton has 1 hit. No, that's 2 hits. No, I'm sorry, that's 1 hit. Harris only has 1 hit. And the guy only has 1, so he's going to use 1 against Plimpton. Harris got a 4. Plimpton got a 4 and a 2. And the defender gets a 1. The 2. Oh, he's a brute. So his defensive value is 1 higher. Harris passes 1. So he has to roll a d6 versus the DV of the loser. The defensive value of the loser is 5. The brute makes it 6. 3. Our Sims got 2d6 or more. Brute loser goes out of fight. He's out of fight. And he got 1. Has to do run d6 against. He was going to put that against Sims actually. Sims is a 3. He beats him. All right, so Sims has been wounded. All right, so now we're going to do the big guys. Too dark for Sharp. And we're up against their number 4. That's going to be Fierce. That gives him an extra die. We use the red die for him. So the 2 whites and the red are for the for the French. He gets 1 hit, 1 success, 1 to 1. So it passes 1d6. Roll a d6 version. So we'll roll for the target first. He is a 6, so he is just going to be dropped. Reputation point. And Sharp. Uh-oh. Well, that's 1 success. So Sharp is going to be dropped. A reputation point. The last fight there, that's going to be... actually, that was Sims. The other one was Plimpton. Plimpton was wounded. So Sims is gonna swing. All right, so we'll do Hagman first. Hagman is a 4. I don't know who that is. It doesn't matter. That's one hit to nobody. That's the one I don't know who it is. He's gonna be okay on a 5. That's a miss, so he is out of the fight. And the last one is Sims. Sims gets 2 hits. To 2 hits. All right, so 2 on 2. So there's no modifiers to this. They both get 2 hits to each, so others go obviously dead. So Sims and that guy are obviously dead. Wow, that's a rough fight. Will to fight roll. I'm going to roll first for the French. That guy's the leader. He gets 2 successes for will to fight. More than 50% out of fight. 1, 2, 3. Yep. So that counts as a 1d6. I'm sorry, only one figure leaves, not everybody. And it's a skittish who leaves first. We have a skittish. So this guy runs. All right, now we have to roll for the British. Rep is now 4. Those are 2 successes. They do not have 50% out of fight. They only have 1 out of fight and 1 duck back. So they carry on. So that takes us through the first turn of the game. Going to go back to the red and white thing. Those are both successes. He's going to try to hit, I guess he's going to try to hit. White die for him. He's going to roll whatever he can. Black die, green dice will be for Richard Sharp. Black die will be for the other one, for Hagman. Richard Sharp gets 2 hits. Hagman gets 2 hits, and the opponent gets 1 hit. He's going to put it against Richard Sharp. 2 hits. He's not a brute, so he's obviously dead. So he's obviously dead. Killed by Richard Sharp. Richard Sharp, on the other hand, takes 1 successful hit. 1d6 minus his defensive 3. That's a tie. I think he's wounded again. Sharp has been chopped down a bit. He's down to 3. Slowly getting nibbled away here. And Hagman's roll won't even matter, so we don't need to roll Hagman. That's that turn done, and now we'll roll for the activation things. So that's going to be the PFs. So we have to roll to see what the how the PFs respond. Farthest away is going to be the one back in the trees there. 1 success, doesn't move. And this other one is way back here in these trees. 2 successes, moves towards nearest enemy, staying in cover at all times. If no cover will end, move at the center of section. Of course, I can't do that because there's no center of section. We're not using those section rules. Go around this way. So now we just roll to see PAF resolution. That's 2 passes. Contact. Count the total of the passing D6. So that would be 6. NPCs equal to your group. It's 5 now. Is that what they mean? I'm going to say that's what they mean. Then we roll to see who they are. There's 5 of them. They are line infantry or grenadier infantry. They are line infantry. So here's what we got. 5 new infantrymen coming around the corner there. Rolling up to see what they are, or who they are. So the first one, he is reputation 4, defensive value 1, TV is 5, he's armed with a musket, and he has no specific skill. The guy next to him, shouldered musket, basically the same. Next to him, grounded musket. These guys are all pretty average. Kneeling. These guys are so far all exactly the same. And the very last one, they are all exactly the same. I guess that's what happens when you deal with line infantry. So again, we have to roll to see, we'll have to see who's going. It is the French first. I think we already did that actually. So we should have been rolling to see what the French are doing. Two and 2. They have the advantage, so the tie is broken by them. So they're going to have the first go here. Of course they are. Why wouldn't they? And they're going to fire again, because why wouldn't they do that too? All right, so not a lot going on here. Oh, I'm not sure they can all fire. Let's not fire yet. Let's get positions. They're going to move and take cover. These ladies are going to run away. I continue to fight, but I'm not sure it actually matters here. So we're going to roll for the French first. Those are both successes, and we're going to roll for the Brits. That is 1 success, because I'm wounded. 1 success. Army, 1 figure loses the board. It's going to, oh my gosh, this is not good. It would be the skittish, who I don't think I have any of. And then it's going to be turning the duck back, which is awkward because the only guy I have that's ducked back is Harper. Harper panics and leaves. Not what we expected at all. I lose my big trusty sergeant. That is not a good thing. And it is now our turn to go. I'm going to reload. Going to move into cover on the wall. Gonna move to cover in the wall. And cover the wall. So most of my guys have maneuvered up to take positions along the wall, except for Sharp, who has just reloaded his musket, or his rifle. And now we roll again to see who goes for the next turn. Oh, we have to roll Will of Fight again. Oh, no. Whole side leaves the battle board. Wow. The rifleman just panicked and left the table. Losing Harper was too valuable for him, and we have failed this mission. Wow. That was a surprise. Our rifles were overwhelmed and chased off the field. Now, I say that's a surprise. I find that's not uncommon in 95th. It's a nature of, maybe it's my die rolls and what I end up getting with the PELs. I find that the PELs usually outnumber me. Their numbers tend to be based on the number of my group, but like in this basic scenario, there were 3 PELs. If I roll for every one of those to be a unit, then those units typically are all going to be at least as big as I am, and it can get overwhelming pretty quickly. And that seems to be my luck. I don't know if that's a problem with the game in general, or if it's just something to do with my dice rolls. But that has definitely been my experience with this game, and this one isn't any different. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you did, I hope that you'll go ahead and hit like. If you have any questions or comments you'd like to make, or suggestions you might have for other content you'd like to see us produce here on Cry Havoc Wargaming, we look for those in the comment section down below. If you found this video useful and you'd like to receive continued notification of other such videos that may help you better determine how to spend your money or time in your tabletop wargaming hobby, then I hope you will hit subscribe and ring our notification bell. Till next time, cheers.